A Sherman tank bursts apart in a massive spray of scorching hot metal. Inside, 5 American soldiers perish right away. They didn't have a fighting chance. 200 meters away, concealed in the thick hedgerow, a German Tiger I tank backs slowly into the darkness. Its 88mm gun is already chambering the next round. The crew stays cool and precise. This marks their 4th kill of the day. By the close of June 1944, Allied troops have put 875,000 men ashore in Normandy. They are up against roughly 400 German Tiger and Panther tanks. The odds of survival are harsh and straightforward. On average, it requires 5 Sherman tanks to take out a single Tiger. 4 of those 5 Shermans end up in flames. The Americans nicknamed their standard M4 Sherman the Ronson because it lights the first time, every time. In the bocage region of Normandy, where each field could turn into a deadly ambush zone divided by old earthen banks and dense hedgerows, American tank crews are perishing at a rate of 580 men every week. The Tigers lie in wait from hidden spots. Their front armor measures 100 millimeters thick. A Sherman's 75mm gun can't punch through it past 100 meters. But the Tiger's 88mm gun can pierce a Sherman's armor from as far as 2,000 meters. The loss ratio in tank-on-tank fights is devastating. For each Tiger knocked out, 6.8 Allied tanks are destroyed. Whole armored battalions get wiped out in just days. What the Allied leaders don't realize is that back in a supply depot close to Southampton, England, a 24-year-old corporal who has no engineering training and no official authority is stuffing his backpack with what look like children's toys. In 7 days, he will transform armored warfare for good. His name is Curtis G. Cullen Jr., and he is on the verge of pulling off a battlefield breakthrough so bold that top officers will label it outright vandalism. The trouble starts the instant Allied tanks come off the Normandy beaches. The bocage countryside in France has been formed over 1,000 years of farming practices. Every single field is bordered by hedgerows, solid barriers of soil, tangled roots, and thick plants that tower 4 to 6 meters high. Those roots dig down 3 meters deep. Rock and compacted dirt make up the foundation, perfect for German defenders. The bocage is a godsend for them. Each hedgerow acts as a built-in anti-tank wall. Every field becomes a perfect trap. Tiger and Panther tanks set up in hold-down positions behind these age-old embankments, exposing only their turrets. When American Shermans try to crest over a hedgerow, they lift their vulnerable underbelly armor, just 25 millimeters thick. German gunners wait exactly for that instant. They hardly ever miss. Lieutenant Colonel Stuart A. Fries from the 2nd Armored Division notes in his after-action report from June 18, 1944, "We are losing tanks quicker than we can get replacements. The hedges turn every move forward into a total nightmare. Our tactics are built for wide-open ground. Here, there is none." The Army experiments with all sorts of ideas. Combat engineers blow holes in the hedgerows with explosives. That takes 30 minutes for each breach and warns every German position within a kilometer. Tanks fitted with bulldozer blades try shoving through. The hedges prove too thick and rooted too deep. The dozers get stuck or snap their tracks. Flamethrower tanks attempt to set the growth on fire. The roots are too damp and massive. Nothing catches properly. General Omar Bradley calls an urgent conference at 1st Army Headquarters on June 24, 1944. The room is filled with leading engineering officers, tank commanders, and planners. Everyone agrees. There is no fix. The hedgerows are a natural obstacle that current gear can't beat.
The army has to swallow the losses and keep pushing forward slowly. Bradley figures it will take until September to break out of Normandy. At the ongoing casualty pace, that would mean 7,000 more tank crewmen gone. The consequences go way beyond Normandy. If the Allies can't smash through the bocage fast, the whole schedule for freeing Europe falls apart. The Germans get extra time to strengthen their lines. The Soviet push from the east might grind to a halt. The war could drag on into 1946. Morale in the tank units plummets. New crews ship over from England and perish in days. Some soldiers flat out refuse to climb into their tanks. Courts-martial for cowardice jump by 300% in July. Experienced commanders ask to switch to regular infantry, figuring their odds are better on foot. The Sherman tank, built for the wide-open deserts of North Africa, has turned into a death trap in the tight, enclosed layout of the bocage. Curtis G. Cullen Jr. is no engineer. He is not even an officer. He is a 24-year-old cab driver from Cranford, New Jersey, who joined the Army back in 1942. He works as a reconnaissance sergeant in the 102nd Cavalry Reconnaissance Squadron, part of the 2nd Armored Division. His schooling stopped after high school. His Army training covers only basic cavalry skills and how to read maps. On the morning of June 27, 1944, Cullen is doing routine maintenance on his EM-8 armored car near the village of St. Jean. All around him, the noise of fighting never stops. Artillery thunders in the distance. Tank guns echo with deep booms. Small arms fire rattles through the thick hedges. His unit has already lost 3 reconnaissance vehicles in just 2 days. Every one of them was knocked out while trying to force a way through or around hedgerows. Cullen watches a Sherman tank from the 3rd Armored Division attempt to climb a nearby hedgerow about 200 meters away. The tank's front end rises high. Its tracks spin, throwing up dirt and chunks of vegetation for 3 full seconds. The thin belly armor is completely exposed to whatever lies on the other side. A German anti-tank gun fires a single shot. The Sherman's ammunition cooks off in a massive explosion, bright enough to see even in daylight. No one climbs out. Something suddenly clicks for Cullen. The real issue is not how tall or dense the hedgerow is. The issue is the angle the tank uses to attack it. The tank is trying to go over the obstacle. What if it could slice straight through instead? That same evening, Cullen walks across a field that engineers have recently cleared. Lying scattered in the grass are pieces of German beach defenses, steel hedgehogs, Belgian gates, sharp-angled iron beams meant to tear open the bottoms of landing craft. The steel is tough, high quality, and hardened. The Army has been gathering these obstacles by the ton, planning to ship them back for scrap. Cullen picks up one section of beam. It is roughly 1 meter long, angled at 30 degrees with a razor-sharp cutting edge. He turns it over in his hands. An idea starts to take shape. Cullen does not ask anyone for permission. He knows exactly what the answer would be. Instead, on the night of June 28, 1944, he finds Sergeant William Duckworth, a maintenance expert in his unit. Duckworth has access to welding gear. "I need you to weld something onto my scout car," Cullen tells him, "and don't ask questions." They work under flashlight in a field workshop, breaking blackout rules the whole time. Cullen has drawn his idea on the back of a ration carton. 4 steel prongs, salvaged from those German beach obstacles, lined up across the front of the vehicle. Each prong points forward and downward, like the teeth of an enormous fork. The sharp edges face ahead. Duckworth looks at the sketch. "What is this thing supposed to do?" "Cut through hedges," Cullen answers. "That has to be the dumbest idea I have ever heard." Weld it anyway. They labor for 3 hours. The prongs are heavy and clumsy. Getting them positioned right takes a lot of trial and error. The welds have to be solid enough to survive hard impacts, yet placed so they do not mess with the suspension or reduce ground clearance. By 2 o'clock in the morning on June 29, 1944, the job is done. The attachment looks rough, almost ridiculous, like a giant version of a child's toy rake. At first light, Cullen takes his modified scout car to a quiet, isolated hedgerow. He tells no one in command. He does not write any report. He simply guns the engine to 25 kilometers per hour and charges straight at the ancient earthen wall. The prongs bite deep into soil and roots. The scout car shudders violently. For a second, it feels like nothing will give. Then the hedgerow rips apart. The prongs carve through earth, plants, and tangled roots. The scout car bursts out the other side in 8 seconds. Cullen backs up and checks the breach. It is 2 meters wide, exactly the right size for a tank to pass through. The hedgerow's strength is ruined. The hole can be widened easily with little extra work. His scout car's armor is untouched. The prongs are slightly bent, but still usable. He has just cracked the problem everyone thought impossible. News travels fast among the enlisted men. By the afternoon of June 29th, a group of tankers and mechanics gathers to watch Cullen show off his invention. A tank commander from the 3rd Armored Division, Captain James Dew, watches the test and instantly sees what it means. "That is totally unauthorized," Dew says. "You have altered military equipment without permission. That counts as destroying government property." Cullen just shrugs. "It works. I have to report this up to division." Word of the demonstration reaches Major General Leroy H. Watson, commander of the 3rd Armored Division, on June 30th, 1944. Watson orders Cullen to come to division headquarters right away. Cullen arrives expecting a court-martial. Instead, he walks into a room packed with 30 officers, tank commanders, engineering experts, ordnance specialists, and staff planners. Major General Watson sits at the head of the table. The mood is serious and doubtful. "Show us your device, Corporal," Watson says. Cullen brings them to his modified scout car. He explains the idea clearly. Use salvaged German steel to build cutting prongs that let vehicles slice through hedgerows instead of climbing over them. The attachment can be welded onto any tank in less than 3 hours, using materials already on hand in the theater. A colonel from the Ordnance Department stands up. "This is absurd. You want us to modify thousands of tanks based on one corporal's garage welding project? These are precision fighting machines. You cannot just attach scrap metal to them." "I have tested it," Cullen replies. "It works." "You tested it once, on a light scout car, against one hedgerow." Another officer jumps in. "What about weight balance? What about shifting the center of gravity? What about stress on the hull?" A major from the 2nd Armored Division adds, "We have strict procedures for any equipment change. They demand full engineering studies, prototype trials, and approval from Washington. That takes months." "We do not have months," Captain Dew breaks in, rising to his feet. "My battalion alone is losing 5 tanks a day." The room explodes. Officers argue loudly over one another. The engineers demand proper testing. The tank commanders want it rolled out immediately. Ordnance officers quote regulations. The shouting gets heated and personal. General Watson lifts his hand. The room falls silent.
"Corporal Cullen," Watson says, "can you install this device on the Sherman tank by tomorrow morning?" "Yes, sir." "Then do it. We will run a live demonstration tomorrow. If it succeeds, we equip the whole division right away. If it fails, you face charges for destroying government property." Dismissed. That night, Cullen and a group of volunteers work in the 3rd Armored Division maintenance yard. They weld his device, now starting to be called the Cullen Hedgerow Cutter, onto a standard EM4A1 Sherman tank. The prongs are larger and stronger than the scout car version, built to handle the Sherman's 30-ton weight.
By 6 o'clock in the morning on July 1st, 1944, the work is finished. The demonstration begins at 10 o'clock. General Watson is there. General Bradley is there. A dozen senior commanders watch closely. Coolin is not allowed to drive the tank. Regulations forbid enlisted men from operating armor during official tests. Lieutenant Robert Babb, a seasoned tank commander, takes the controls. The chosen test hedgerow is one of the thickest in the area, picked on purpose to make the challenge tough. Babb floors it, pushing the Sherman to full speed, 40 kilometers per hour. The tank slams into the hedgerow with enormous force. The prongs dig in deep. Dirt erupts in a huge cloud. Roots snap like rifle shots. The Sherman powers through in 6 seconds, coming out the other side with its belly armor never exposed. Babb reverses and hits the same hedgerow from another angle. Same result. He makes 5 passes total, every one successful. The prongs show some wear, but they hold up. The tank itself takes no damage. General Bradley turns to Watson. How quickly can you put these on every tank in your division? 72 hours, sir. Do it. Then get the plans out to every armored unit in Normandy.